Hey everybody, good morning, it's Sarah, aka Rothy. I wanted to take a little moment to do a real quick video and reading. Today is August 24th, 2020, and it's the day after Kobe Bryant's birthday. It's also, obviously, his jersey number. So, in thinking about that and wanting to do an honorary reading for him and his life, I felt it most appropriate to do it on the 24th instead of the 23rd, just because I feel like a lot of his life is self-reflective of what those energies are, okay, of his jersey numbers. So, excuse me. To start out, I'll just give you the basics of numerology. Basically, it is the science and study of numbers, their energies, vibrations, frequencies, and how they impact us as individuals as well as the world, okay? Similar to astrology, everybody has a numerology chart. However, numerology is far more precise. So that's why I like it. It's a very it's a language. Essentially, it's another language. And because I know that language very well, and I'm fluent in it, I definitely read life through numbers. And I read people and their lives through numbers. So it's pretty interesting when you get to know the energies of numbers and what they mean and how they impact us. It's kind of cool to see them in action in people's lives. So being so passionate about numerology as I am, I just like to share that as much as possible. Numerology has changed my life, and it is an incredible language to know. It's an incredible tool to have in your arsenal of life, just to help you, okay? So, with all of that being said, the basics of numerology, everybody has 5 basic numbers in their chart. You have your life path, your birth date. These 2 numbers are derived from your actual day of birth. And then you have your expression number, your personality, and your heart's desire or soul urge number. And those come from the spelling of the letters in your name. Okay? They calculate 3 different ways. And then the basics of numerology as far as the numbers are concerned, all numbers will break down into 1 through 9 in one way, shape, or form, even including the masters, because 11, 22, and 33 are simply doubling of 1, 2, 3. So we're still using those main core numbers. And so that's it. So it's 1 through 9, 11, 22, and 33. And that's the foundation of numerology. Okay. Not that it doesn't get more in depth with than that. It definitely does. But as far as for like chart readings and stuff, it's 1 through 9 and your masters. All right. So keep it very simple. Numerology is quite the rabbit hole. I think it's like, I liken it to things like pi or infinity. How can you count infinity? You just can't. So that's kind of like numerology. Nobody knows everything about it. And yet everything in our life is numbers. So anyway, so that's just the basic beginnings of numerology and a little bit about it. Okay, so I've already calculated Kobe's charts, and I also did his jersey numbers as well as Mamba, just because it's a word and a name that is obviously associated closely with him. So that, of course, will have energy that impacts his life, so on and so forth. And it's, again, all of this is really, really telling. When Kobe died, I actually did his chart back then. However, I didn't make a video about it, and I didn't post it because I think all of us were just in such a state of shock. I know that, like, even when like Nipsey Hussle died, like everybody was like shocked and brokenhearted and all of that. And at the same time, and not to negate that, Nipsey was a king. Nipsey like led his people, great man, great man. And not to negate anything that happened with him, but I think that when Kobe died, the world mourned. and still is mourning in a lot of ways. I read several posts from you yesterday from a lot of you that, wrote letters to Kobe or just kind of your feelings on his birthday. And it's a testament to how much he touched us in this world and touched our lives individually. I'm not a huge fan of basketball, but even so, Kobe's life definitely impacted mine. What he stood for, the strength that he had, the determination, that go hard spirit is something that I admire with everything in me and would love to be able to exemplify, even if just a fraction of what he did and the power that he put forth and the energy that he had in his life that he gave to us. So that's really cool. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started on his chart. I'm going to start out with his jersey numbers because, again, that was the reason that I decided to do his reading today instead of yesterday on his actual birthday. So let's start out with the 8. Obviously, that was his first jersey number. 8 is the most powerful number in all of numerology. It means power, money, karma. 8 is big. It's bold. It's beautiful. It's risky. It's the manifester. It is sorry about that. Let me turn my phone off. It's the magician. It's the influencer. So it has a potential to be a leader, but generally the 8 is not a leader in the sense of what we would normally think is a leader. With all of that being said, and it's 11:38 right now, which is pretty interesting, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Let me write that down. So the reason why the 8 is not really the leader, but can be, is because the 8 is so influential and powerful. So what this tells me is during this time that Kobe had the 8 as his jersey, it is somewhat indicative to me that maybe Kobe knew about numerology. Maybe he did things purposely. Again, I'm not a basketball person, so I don't know the specifics. I'm into football and Cowboys, so that's my thing. I don't know the inner workings of that or his life and why he changed his jersey number, what have you. My only assumption, judging from the numbers and kind of paralleling that to his life and how it went, I can very much see those energies changing, and that leads me to believe that maybe he did that intentionally based on his possible knowledge of the numbers and the energies that they brought. Because, Kobe came out, I mean, like all the basketball legends, he came out hard and heavy, and he stayed there till the end. He came out with a bang. That's an 8 energy all day long. It's bold. It's beautiful. It's in your face. It is, it's a, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I'm going to do and be me and be big and bold and beautiful and take up my space and then some. Like the 8 is kind of like that. The 8 is an in your face type of energy. I know my personality number is 8, and I might change my name just because of that. I can be super intense with it sometimes, and I know that's attributed to my 8. So with that being said, if Kobe did know about numerology, that was him saying, like, I'm coming for you, I'm coming hard, and you're going down. And that's basically what he did his entire career. So pretty applicable. Now, I don't know exactly when he changed his jersey number to 24, but I would venture to say this. I would venture to say that it was after the whole controversy about him cheating on Vanessa and all of that crap, which whatever. By the way, we got to stop. We have to really stop judging men for being men. I'll just say it like that. Infidelity is not justified. It's not acceptable. And at the same time, men were built different from women. physiologically, emotionally, hormonally, all of that. And it's my true belief that men were made to have multiple partners. It is what it is. Women are internal, men are external. Back in the day, men had concubines and multiple wives and all of that. Men were made, and naturally, we have more female babies than we do males. So naturally, that's just my personal belief. Now, would I get into a polygamous marriage? No. But I do understand why men sometimes stray. It doesn't mean that they don't love their wives. I just think they have a natural, innate nature in them to be like that. And so we kind of got to stop judging them for that, guys. It really bothered me to hear some of the things that were said about Kobe right after he died so tragically. And especially after he spent so many years afterwards just being an incredible human being to not only his family, but to his community and to everybody else. Like, you can't say anything bad about Kobe. I don't care what his mistakes were in the past. Okay? So we just got to let that sort of stuff go. But anyways, so if somebody can actually, maybe let me know, or I'll look it up afterwards, when he changed his jersey number to 24, I would venture to say it was after that controversy. The reason being is, and this is another reason that, another thing that leads me to believe that Kobe did know about numbers, and he knew the energies that they brought. So, maybe at that time he was like, realizing the priority in his life was his family and his purpose and the sacredness of that, because 24 is 6, and the 6 is the love of home and family and everything that is sacred, tradition. When I think of a 6, I think of Christmas time and the family being home, the turkey's cooking, everybody's preparing, holiday food, the kids are playing out front, grandpa's sitting in the lounge chair, the uncles are out back smoking weed or something, or drinking and watching a game or something. That sort of a thing where the family is together at home. I mean, even if it's like we do certain things for birthdays in our family, we have a certain tradition for that. So 6 is the love of home and family and tradition. Kobe doesn't have any other 6s in his chart. He's got very dynamic numbers for the rest of his chart, which I'll go into in a moment, which further indicates to me that this was an intentional change of number. Okay, it's 11:44 right now. It's an intentional change of number to bring in some more of that love of family and home energy. And I think that we very much saw that. Kobe wasn't involved in any sort of controversies after that. He loved his family, and that was so apparent to everybody. Love him or hate him, like, he loved his family. He went hard for his family, and really represented what a good father should be and what a good husband should be, even though he messed up. He still embodied the essence of that role model that he knew he wanted to be. Okay. So that's why I thought it'd be pretty important to kind of talk about his jersey numbers, because they really, really just, the thought that hit my head instinctually when I saw them was he knew about numbers and he knew how to use them. And that's the beauty of knowing numerology. You can absolutely use numbers to impact your life. Okay. All right. So let's go through the rest of his chart, starting out with his life path number. All right. I wasn't at all surprised to see this when I did his chart. I expected a big dynamic number, and his life path number is the 11. So the 11 is the master intuitive. The 11 is the duplicating of the energy of the number 1. The 1 is the male dominant leader. So the final state, look at the shape of the 1. It's just a hard stick. Sorry for the snoring bulldog in the background. The 1 is just a hard stick. It's a straight line. There's no curvatures. There's no bends to it, nothing. That is the 1. It's just Very dominant leadership, the initiator, the originator, the one and only, set aside from everybody else, the first one to do it. So that is the one. You're duplicating that energy with the 11, all right? And even though we're not deducing it down to a 2, we're still going to bring in the energy of the 2 because 1 and 1 still equals 2. So what's the 2? The 2 is the nurturing female mother energy, okay? And you'll see that opposite, like, kind of dynamic between the numbers 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so on. The next number to it will always be somewhat of a contrast and opposite energy from the number before it, okay? So I see this with a lot of 11s because it does bring in the opposite contrasting energy of the mother and the father together, the female and male energy. So 2s, what I say about 2s is they are very, very loving, very nurturing, supportive. 2s love to, a lot of times 2s and 11s will show their love with food. It's a huge, huge thing for them. It's one of their love languages is food. So 2s will often have like all of their kids' friends over for dinner and spending the night and that sort of a thing. Always having get-togethers at their house, feeding friends and family, maybe doing things for the holidays to feed the homeless. 2 is a way, like food is a way for 2s to show their love. So when incorporating that with that male dominant, strong 1 energy, this, to me, how I explained it is it's taking 2 contrasting energies, almost like cold air and warm air. When they come together, they start spinning around and they create a tornado, right? So that's kind of like the 1 and the 2 coming together because you have a master 11 and duplicate energy of the 1 plus that soft loving 2 energy. So these are going to spin together and create what I call like a vortex, okay? A vortex of energy. And I believe that this is why and how 11s are so intuitive and why the 11 is the intuitive, the master intuitive, because I believe it opens a portal, all right? It opens like it's like a vortex and it opens up something in energy, energetically between dimensions. And in this way, 11s are able to access and they're able to tap into other realms. This is why a lot of 11s are naturally gifted psychics, mediums, clairvoyants, so on and so forth. Very spiritually centered people and focused people. They also have tremendous instinct for obvious reasons. You're also, with the life path. So the life path energy is the destiny. It's the destiny. We're not talking about the journey with the life path, all right? The life path energy is the destiny. So most of us will not exhibit the full attributes of our life path number until the latter years in our life because, again, it's about that destiny, all right? It's not about the everyday energy like our birthday number is, okay? It's who we're put here to be, why we were put here, and what we're going to become. That's the life path, okay? Whereas birthday energy is that's your everyday energy, the parts of you that don't change from birth until the day you die, okay? It's the parts of you that never change. And Kobe's, which is interesting, Kobe's is a 5 because 2 plus 3 equals 5. We derive it from the actual day of his birth, the 23rd. 2 plus 3 equals 5. So 5 is joy. 5 is movement. The colors of 5 to me are bright orange and yellow. Sunshine, movement, change, travel, fun, the life of the party, always moving. 5s can't sit still. They're always doing something. The 5 a lot of times can be seen as flighty. Just to be honest with you, there's just so much change and movement with fives that a lot of times they get tired of things quickly, and they need new stimulation. So anybody with like a daily, daily energy of 5 or birthday number of 5, I tell them focus on jobs and careers that allow you to have new experiences every single day. Because if you're at a 9 to 5 sitting at a desk as a 5, you're gonna go crazy. It's like claustrophobia to a 5. So Kobe's life obviously was a great one to have as a 5, because of course he was always doing stuff, always moving, always traveling, working out, getting ready for stuff, games. And then even after his retirement, he continued that constant movement with his daughter's basketball league. And is that what you call it? A league, right? I'm sorry, I'm not a basketball person. But yeah, with Gianna's team and her league, that is how he was allowed to continue that 5. I also know that Kobe, I didn't hear this until a few months after his passing, and I don't know how many of us know this. I'd love more information on it if anybody has any. But from what I heard, Kobe was also working on something to do with like medicine or healing that would have posed a monetary threat to pharmaceutical companies, big pharma. If anybody has any more information on that, I would love more information. I do need to look into it, and I've been wanting to. Obviously, it wasn't as talked about as, like, say, Nick Cannon and Nipsey Hussle's endeavor to talk about truth and health and wellness, well living. But I did hear that, so I wanted to mention that. I feel like maybe that's something that would only make sense to me, would be potentially a part of maybe the reason he passed. Who knows? I don't trust anything or anyone anymore, as far as, especially when it comes to high profile things, and you try to do anything, it's been proven over and over again. You try to do anything good for humanity, you try to stand up for anything healthy for us, you try to go against the grain and talk about how you can live a more healthy life without using medicine, just by eating right and exercising and taking natural supplements, and they'll come after you, because that's just the way that it was set up. So I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying that I would love more information on this, because I've heard it once and it would make sense. So if anybody's got any information on that, that'd be cool. So yeah, his birthday is 5. Life of the party, constant joy, constant movement, travel, change, fun, free spirit, and joy, sunshine. You can look at Kobe's face. He was sunshine. He was such a light. And that's the reason he was a light, was his 5. So that's kind of cool. Okay. So if our birthday number is our birthday energy is our everyday energy, then our expression number is going to be how we do things. All right. How and why we do things based upon our numbers, based upon our environmental factors, our experiences, so on and so forth. And then our personality number is how we're perceived, how the world sees us. And then our heart's desire number is what we want out of life. It's just what it says. Our soul urge or our heart's desire is what we want out of life. All 3 of these numbers are the same number for Kobe, which is pretty interesting to me. So his expression number, and they all come from, well, 2 of them come from 18. So his expression number is a 9. what this means, what this tells me is Kobe was a closer. Kobe did things to complete them. He didn't, one of the things that may have like made him frustrated, or that could be one of those things in life that maybe, you know, ruffled his feathers, was not completing something, projects, tasks. Nines are, that's the completion of things, you know, the ending of cycles to begin anew. Nines are also what I call the shapeshifters. Not in a bad spiritual way. I know that those are kind of like demonic entities. I'm not calling it like that. I'm calling it the shapeshifter of energy. So what that means is nines are comprised of all the rest of the other 8 numbers. So nines are that much more able to translate, more easily able to translate their energies into every other number's energy, and vice versa. This means that nines are very empathic. They have a hard time not absorbing energies from other people. So if somebody was upset around Kobe, it would affect him, especially with all 3 of his expression, personality, and heart's desire numbers being 9. He was probably one that like LeBron and them came to, even Michael Jordan, you know, like the legends, the classics, like they would probably go to him to vent and get advice, even if they were older, even if they were, you know, some of the big guys from back in the day. Like Kobe was trusted to be that person that would not judge when somebody entrusted him with information. Nines have an ability to put themselves in other people's shoes and not judge. The rest of us, and me included, like me first, I'll be the first in line to say I'm a judgmental bitch sometimes, okay? I own it, all right? I'm working on me. But nines are probably some of the most understanding people that you can come across. And that's because they're the shapeshifter. They can change their energy into other numbers' energies. So they understand, they have an ability to be like, okay, that person that looks crazy and mean and horrible and evil to everybody else likely had some traumas in their life or something, and hurt people. That's a great example of how a 9 thinks. So what this tells me is, you know, Kobe, I think part of a lot of the reason that he garnered the respect that he did as a legendary basketball player, philanthropist, person, and just an incredible man, is because of the fact of how open he was to us and how much we meant to him. You know, he lived his life not only for his family, but he also lived it for us. He had to have an impact on us. And that's prevalent. That's more than obvious in everything that he did and everything that he stood for and everything that he talked about and exemplified. Kobe was one that walked his talk. And that's why I think he has so much respect. And that's also how he was seen by the world. He was seen as that 9, as that person that would understand. And what this tells me is Kobe was likely not the type of like ball player to ignore a fan or something. If somebody wanted an autograph or a picture, he would probably go out of his way to take pictures and show them love and thank them, be appreciative to them for loving him and supporting him. And that's how he was seen. That's how we saw him. That's how the world saw him. Was that that energy that really just could be trusted to be accepting and warm and not judge you when you would come to him. And his heart's desire was also a 9, which is somewhat intriguing to me because It's like he was, he did, he wanted, he did, and he was. Like that's what it is. Like he wanted, he did, and he was seen that way. Yeah, I mean, and the thing that keeps coming to me about these 9 specifically is Kobe was a closer. He was a closer. He wanted to wrap things up. Get it done. Get it done. Don't make excuses. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Let's go. So that, like, fervent, just coach behind you, like, hurry up, let's do it, let's get it done, get it go. That go hard, like, cheerleader and coach in the background, prodding you on to be better. But he wanted things done. Like, he with 3 9s in his chart like that, I would bet anything that if anybody were to ask Vanessa, she would be like, absolutely. He hated things to be undone. Like, finish what you're doing. That's just I mean, that's one of the 9 strongest energy points, and he's got 3 of them in his chart. Boom, boom, boom. So to me, that says he's a closer. And, you know, in actuality, his life, and especially the end of his life, really, really was the end of an era, in a way. If you think about it, especially now, in the world that we're in, Kobe shut it down. There will never be another him. There will never be another Kobe Bryant. I mean, we know that, but there will never be another like him. There will be greats, but there will never be another Kobe. He was very, very unique. So the closer, he had to finish it. Okay, so going on to Mamba. I just did Mamba, not Black Mamba. I just did Mamba because a lot of times Mamba is really the more prominent of the names. And Mamba deduces down to 3. 3 is the creative child. So what this tells me is this was somewhat of his, like, expression of that childlike energy. Mamba allowed him to continue to be that youthful, fun-loving spirit and person. And it also allowed him to tap into and feed the energy of youth. 3 is, for the most part, 3 is a wise young person. You ever, like, meet a baby and you're like, that kid's been on this planet before, way before we were ever here. Like an old soul type of person, that's a 3. 3s tend to be very wise, protective, and youthful. Also very creative. So this is how he was able to express his creativity and to actually manifest it and to create it within himself, was through his Mamba, through that Mamba persona, through that Mamba name, through that essence of Mamba and what that number, what those numbers and those letters represent, deducing to the 3. That was a huge channel for his creativity and his ability to reach youth. So going back to the, remember earlier I said 11:38, it was 11:38 when I looked up at the clock. And this is pretty prevalent to me because Kobe's life path number is an 11, but it's derived from 38. It's not derived from 29, and it's not a straight up 11. So these are 3 different 11s. Okay? All 3 are master intuitives, but I've always said the 3811 is my favorite 11. The 3811 is far more safer because even though it has an 8 in it, which is risk, it also has the 3 in it. So the 3 is the perfect like counterbalance to the 8. If you look at the 3, it's almost like it wraps around the 8. It could like cuff the 8 and protect it. So the 3 is a great protection number for the 8. I always tell the story like this, like the 8 is like Uncle 8, the drunk Uncle 8, all right? And the 3 is like the young child of the family, even if they're like an adult, like in their 20s, you know, college age or older, still the youth of the family. And say it's Christmas time and the family's home and mom's like, okay, 3, last year 8 went out with Aunt 5 and the 2 of them got arrested because the 5 and the 8 are best friends. They will have an epic time together, but they will get arrested every single time because they're both crazy and they spin each other's energy into trouble every single time. So 8s stay away from 5s, 5s stay away from 8s. All right, it is what it is. But the 3 and the 8 are so much better balanced. That 3 is very much a wise energy for the 8 and helps to keep it contained. So the 3 is going out with Uncle 8 instead of Aunt 5, and he's going to make sure that Uncle 8 gets home this time without killing anybody on the road or without getting put in jail. All right? It's kind of the way that I talk about 38, 3 and 8, and 5 and 8. So with this being said, the 3811 to me, because 3 plus 8 equals 11, the 38 is a lot less risky of an 11 than the 2911 is, or than a regular 11 is. It has that perfect balance to it. So the reason I said that was because I looked and it was 1138. So 1111. That told me, okay, I'm right on point doing what I should be in this moment. That's what 1111 means, in case you didn't know. So yeah, the numerology of Kobe being Bryant, this is what it is. I'm not sure if you can see it all that well. I'll be happy to take a picture and post it if you guys want to see it. I kind of doodle on my charts, so if it looks like chicken scratch, I apologize. But that's what it is, and just wanted to talk a little bit about Kobe and his chart and his numbers and how they kind of can be seen in his life, and those energies are really prevalent in a lot of the details of his life. So with that being said, God bless Kobe and his family. Obviously, we're still, thinking about him and them and praying for them all. And yeah, I mean, he's forever going to be with us. He's always going to be I personally believe on the other side, he's still working. I just know through energy and what I do and being a spiritual person that's what happens. So that's a wonderful thing. He's a great guy to have on our side. Let's put it that way. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was a blessing to you. Happy birthday, Kobe, belated. We love you. And I'm here to answer any questions if anybody has any. Feel free to hit me up, Rafi Reads Numbers, on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.